Right, guys, today is an episode of Club Review, and the club I'm going to look at today is Brentford, who've had an interesting first season in the Premier League. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so Brentford's form has dipped a bit recently, but there was some great early season form with wins in the first 7 games coming against Arsenal at home, Wolves away, and West Ham away. Two very good results there away from home. And also, the Arsenal win on the opening night of the season made everybody sit up and take notice of Brentford. But since October, since that win against West Ham, Brentford have only actually won 3 games in the league, which is not very good at all. And at the moment, they have as many points in the league as they have played games. I think they're on 23 games and 23 points, which isn't terrible for your first season in the Premier League. But I think this season it looks a lot better than it would another season because let's say if they're getting a point a game at the moment, which they are on average, so if they finish with 38 points, they say you need 40 points to be safe from relegation. And even in the past, there have been a couple of times where teams with 40 points have been relegated. I remember West Ham once got relegated with over 40 points. But this season, because there's like a bottom 4 of teams, Norwich, Newcastle, Watford and Burnley, who are really, really struggling to pick up points, it looks like Brentford should survive. But it is something to keep an eye on because they are struggling a bit. In the League Cup, they beat teams you'd expect them to beat and got knocked out in the quarter-finals. By Chelsea, and then they've just beaten Port Vale in the FA Cup and play Everton in the 4th round. So yeah, form, it's not looking great at the moment, but it looks like their early season form has done just enough to keep them up, I think, really, or keep them away from danger at least. Okay, so Brentford's best starting 11 for me is David Raya in goal, who is obviously out at the moment with a long-term injury. So Fernandez has come in for the meantime in goal, and then a back three of Chris. I never know how to say his surname. Christopher Ayer. Ayer, is it Asia? Ayer. Ayer sounds better. Pontus Jansson and Ethan Pinnock. It's been quite rare this season, I think, that all three have played together. So, I mean, you could put some of Brentford's poor form down to that. Then the 2 wing-backs being Sergi Canos, who's a very good attacking player, and Rico Henry, who they have missed recently due to injury, I think. And then the midfield 3 I've gone with, because they play like 3-5-2, I've gone with Norgard, who's been one of their best performers this season, Frank Onyeka, who's done decent since he was signed in the summer from Midtjylland, I think it was. I think he might have been their record signing. And then Vitaly Janot in like the left central midfield role is a very good technical player, I think, from what I've seen of him, and also can be helpful when defending set pieces or even attacking set pieces. And then the front 2 has got to be Ivan Toney and Brian Mbeumo. Don't get me wrong, Johan Visser has been very good. Is it Visser or Wisser? Yeah, it's Wisser, isn't it, actually? I keep getting names wrong here. Johan Visser has been very good, but I think even though Mbeumo has struggled for goals at times this season, I still think he offers a little bit more threat than Wisser does. But yeah, that's the best starting 11 for me. The manager, Thomas Frank, he's done a superb job to get Brentford into the Premier League. I think he joined them in around late 2018. I can't remember exactly when it was. But since then, they've always either challenged for promotion in the Championship or they got promotion last season. So he's done a great job at Brentford, and Brentford are a really well-run club, so that probably helps Thomas Frank. But what I like about Thomas Frank as a manager is he is charismatic and also similar in the way to Jurgen Klopp. He will always like stick up for his players, even if it makes him look a bit stupid at times. Because I think a lot of people get outraged at interviews these days that managers give and say, well, you wouldn't say that if it was this way round. Like if this went against you as opposed to for you, which I mean, we all know that happens. But he definitely comes across as a manager who, if he was unhappy with one of his players, he'd speak to them first before he spoke to the media. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he comes across as the right man for Brentford. Now for transfers, I've picked out a couple of positions that I think they need improvements on. I think in defence, because the amount of times they haven't had that back three that I've said together, I think they need a couple more backups at centre back. Either to break into that centre back, one of the centre back roles, or just as a backup, really. So for the two centre backs I've gone with, I think they should sign is James Tarkowski, because his contract's running up at Burnley at the end of the season. Everybody knows that, and it looks like he's not going to be signing a new one. And also, yeah, so free transfer. And also, I think Burnley signed him from Brentford. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he has played for Brentford in the past. It would have been a while ago. It'd have been at least 5 or 6 years ago now, though. But I think he has played for Brentford in the past, so that always helps. So we know the club. And then second choice, I think, might be a bit optimistic because Brentford don't seem to be a team that spend large amounts of money. But I've put Diego Carlos down from Sevilla. In hindsight, that might be a bit too ambitious, as he probably would cost 30 million. But I think he would be a very good player because just like Tarkowski, he is a player who is willing to put his body on the line. I think Tarkowski is more of an aerially dominant player and a tackler, whereas Diego Carlos is more of a passer and a bit more of a technical player. So yeah, they're the two centre backs I've gone with, and the left wing back I've got down is Mitchell Bakker from Bayer Leverkusen, because he's a young, I think he's Dutch, Dutch left wing back, no, Dutch left back, but I think he could be converted into a left wing back at Brentford, who plays for Leverkusen. He's a good player, very good in possession and good at passing the ball, and also he is quite aerially strong, which Brentford are a team that do look for that sort of thing in their players, I think, because the amounts of goals that they score do come from set pieces, a lot of them. So yeah, I think he would be also a good addition to their team. Yeah, so in summary, Brentford, they're doing well at the moment, I guess, except pretty much all except their form, because it's the reason they're not properly in the relegation zone right now is because of their early season form. I think they did something like they got 3 wins and 3 draws and only 1 loss from their first 7 games, which is incredible, really, considering they played Arsenal, Liverpool, West Ham, Wolves. I think they lost to Brighton. This is off the top of my head, by the way. And I can't remember the others, but still very good run. But they do need to watch their form at the moment. But other than that, they're a really well-run club and they look like they're doing well. And they should be in the Premier League for a few years, I think.